Hi, hello, welcome to a post-game edition of Dodgers Territory. I am Clint Pasillas, that is Greg Bergman, and it feels like old times because we are post-gaming together, my friend. That is also not Alana Rizzo. She will be back on Thursday, but the Dodgers lose. The Dodgers lose an ugly one against the Marlins, just the way you want to draw it up. Quick thoughts before I do all the other housekeeping and we dive into this show.
This is exactly the wrong thing to happen. This is very much what we talked about before, while we were saying, like, okay, let's get ready to do this show. That, of course, they're going to go to extras with the Marlins, go over 3 hours and lose in extras. This is just a very typical, since we never do post-game shows together anymore, this is exactly what would happen in that situation.
It's exactly what you draw up. Dodgers losing extras to the Marlins in Miami the day before a bullpen game. Everything is perfect. Everything is right. I'm sure everybody's happy. Guys, sound off in the comments below. Let us know first where you're representing your Dodgers fandom and also how you feel about this Dodgers loss in Miami 5-4 final. Also, if you don't mind, subscribe to the channel, like the show, rate and review the podcast, all of that kind of stuff. A lot of little things to dive into on this one, of course. Let me click this button just so everybody knows. The Dodgers lose to the Marlins in extras. It's not effing extras, but it is extra innings, and it feels to me, I don't know if you have a similar feeling. It feels to me like this game was kind of lost in that sixth inning after Gonsolin came out. Why Luis Garcia there? I have my opinions. I'm sure people, there's reality, but we could take the overreaction. We could take the frustrated angle of it. Why was Luis Garcia in the game in that moment?
So Luis Garcia, I think, to me, is interesting anyway. He hasn't been terrible, to say the least, at all. But he's also like just one of those guys that is going to be here for the beginning of the season to save some arms in the bullpen. Mm-hmm. That's the only real reason that he's there. That's why guys like Yoendry Gomez is here and JP Fireisen. And that's why Noah Davis was here. He's just here, and he's actually done a pretty decent job what's going on. But like Luis Garcia is just going to be here to have innings. That's really about it, because I think what you're putting up here, all of the high leverage arms are being put out there so often. There's a bullpen game tomorrow. This is just, you put the guys that you don't want to really care about out there, and they pitched Tanner Scott on back-to-back days against the Marlins. That's the last thing that they actually wanted.
It really honestly is the last thing you want to see in this series, and knowing that this is for the first time, Dodgers playing a bunch of games in a row. All of April they had a lot of Mondays and Thursdays off, and now all of a sudden after this series, tomorrow day game, they got 4 more against the Diamondbacks. Finally seeing another NL West division opponent, by the way. That's a thing. But there's 4 more games in the midst of a 10-game stretch. They already don't have Blake Snell. You already don't have the other guy, Tyler Glasnow, in the mix right now. You're still about a week and change away, 10 days, 2 weeks away from getting Clayton Kershaw back. This is only your second Tony Gonsolin start. We got to talk about Tony as well. But, this is part of the ugly, long story of the season. There are injuries. There are injuries happening for this team, and this game got underway with us learning that Teoscar Hernandez likely out for significant time, weeks, and James Outman makes his return to the big league roster, and it was evident very early and quite often today that Teoscar Hernandez was not available in that lineup. And I saw our buddy Jeff Spiegel post on the social media, looking at that 5 through 9 hitter of Muncy, Conforto, Rojas, Outman, Kim, doesn't really instill a lot of fear in the opponent and a lot of confidence for us. So it was going to be a tough game to win, I feel, either way, despite the fact that it was the Miami Marlins. But hey, that's the way things shake out. Not every move worked out today, and we could be annoyed, we can be frustrated, and then we flush it and we move on and look ahead to the next one tomorrow.
That's the whole thing with this, is that, yes, that's exactly what you do. You flush it, you let it go away, because this game in the scheme of things, is not going to make the biggest difference in the world. And yes, what Jeff Spiegel said at the same time was exactly my first thought when I looked at the lineup when it came out around 12:30. When to have 5 through 9, Muncy, Conforto, Rojas, Outman, Kim. I was like, if they win this game with that bottom 5 through 9, I love Kim just as much as anybody, but if you win this game with that 5 through 9, then the Marlins don't belong in the Major League Baseball. Like that's how bad you have to be with those 5 guys down at the bottom. I'm sorry. That's awful. And they did exactly what we thought they were going to do, not get a hit. I mean, except for Kim. Conforto is an absolute mess at the plate. Like, he did walk a couple of times. Muncy, those were some terrible at bats. I like to give Muncy as much time as possible, but it also seems like it's just not hitting it. His glasses not really doing him any.
Yeah,
no.
He got the glasses set up, I think, on Saturday or something like that. So far, not quite there. I thought after we got that first homer from Max, he was going to start going on a tear. We saw some good signs in there. Far from being the only problem in the lineup for sure. Any lineup that has Michael Conforto still in it right now has been a struggle for the Dodgers. But Muncy, got to give him some credit, playing some nice defense for the club as well. As we see the chat here on the screen, Tran loving what we're seeing out of Ha-Seong Kim, and Kim's going to get some run here, and you get guys like him, and I guess because the opportunity is here now, James Outman is going to get some opportunities, going to get some run. But as we kind of just bounce all around, I really do want to dive into James Outman. First game we've seen from Jimmy this year at the big league level, and just some really. I like the kid, but they were atrocious swings. There was not really any competitive swings against Marlins pitching. That was tough, and we go back to having him be a part of that 5 through 9, even against the Marlins. It's a tough game to win. Tony Gonsolin did enough. I think he did enough early to give this Dodgers club, this lineup, an opportunity to put up enough points, as people love me calling them points. But it just did not work. It just did not work today. And again, you flush it and you move on. What do you got before we kind of shift gears a little bit?
So James Outman, I think, he followed up yesterday. He had a golden sombrero in AAA before coming up. So he went over 4 with 4 strikeouts yesterday. And he followed that up by going over 4 with 3 strikeouts. So slowly but surely getting a little bit better. He did have that walk in there as well. Was it over? No, it was over 3. I'm sorry. It was over 3 strikeouts and a walk, because I forgot about the walk. So not the greatest showing from James Outman. And also, he overran a ball in the outfield. He's up here because mostly he has good defensive skills. That's why you're like, oh, Outman, he's going to be great in the outfield. He had one nice play in center field where he cut off a ball, just totally took a terrible route on a ball a little bit later in the game, and they got a run off of it as well. So that's where those types of things get into play. I just think that he's having some issues right now, and Dave Roberts said that he was going to have a long runway. So that means he's going to be here for quite some time.
Yeah, he's going to be around because, again, Teoscar Hernandez is going to be down for a few weeks. And I know I talked to Casey Porter, who, of course, covers the Dodgers, covers prospects very well for Dodgers Daily here on YouTube. We talked yesterday. Yeah, it was. Oh, my God. Time has no meaning anymore, everybody. But he joined me here on DT, and we talked about Dalton Rushing going out and playing some left field. I mean, this is a prime opportunity. If he can get a few weeks in left field, there is nothing but opportunity for him to get at bats at the major league level finally, and potentially usurp Michael Conforto if he can't figure it out. And every year you got to have your narrative guys. You got to have your guys that are just obviously you got to jump on them and just keep riding them. I had Gavin Lux for a lot of last year, as did a lot of people. Conforto, very much a struggle point for this lineup. And when you have somebody like Dalton Rushing, who's just absolutely killing it at AAA, but he's not up with the big league club, it does get a little. I mean, it's not frustrating because, this is still a team that's so very good. But when you feel like there are chances to win ball games, I don't know. I don't know how much you go all in every game, and we had this conversation here on the show before, even talked to Dave Roberts about it. Like, not every game is a must win, but at the same time, you look at the comments, people are like, how do you do this? Dave Roberts needs to be fired and all this kind of stuff. And
Yeah,
then,
Dave Roberts is not going anywhere, especially in May. So, but you call them narrative guys. I call them my villain. So, Michael, I made Michael Conforto my villain this year. It was Alex Vezina last year, and then Vezina then ended up changing over and becoming a good pitcher. That's what I hope that the villainness does to people, is make them flip. Conforto's been terrible. If I call him my villain and I start killing him every day, then hopefully eventually he turns it all around. For the reason for rushing for me that I'm kind of trying to figure out with you, I don't, from what I understand, they don't want him in left field. They don't want him in the outfield anymore. They're making him a catcher, and they don't want him to be moving back and forth and all around and continue to get those at-bats in AAA. I would love to see him up because I would love to see what he can do. But if they're not going to put him every day in left field for Conforto, there's no real reason to actually bring him up except to appease the chat and to appease people like you and me that want to see him. But otherwise, the best space for him is to get at bats over and over again and kind of just wait for that spot in for catcher.
I mean, I don't see why they don't bring him up specifically for people like you and I. I think they should bring him up just to us, just to appease us. Of course, over the weekend, Rushing did get in, his first start in left field, and that to me is definitely a little bit telling because they did tell us, or they did say during spring training, like, no, he's only going to catch. He's not playing any outfield. But the reality is, they have a catcher. They signed him to a 9-year contract extension, 10-year contract extension, whatever Willie was signed to. You're not moving Freddie Freeman from first base, and I don't think they can play Dalton Rushing or Will Smith at third base. So anyway, any path to getting this kid in the lineup, much like the Cubs did with Kyle Schwarber all those years ago, like getting a bat in the lineup however you can is more important at some point. But the first week of May, probably not so much. We got some actual positive things we can look at in this game, and then we'll go back to crapping on everything. But before we do all that, we're going to take a second to listen to Scott Braun and Eric Kratz about Arena Club.
FT fan by now, if you're buying, selling, trading, collecting cards, Arena Club is the spot. We've been talking about them all season long, but I do want to focus on the slab pack experience, Kratz, since you've been ripping some slab packs digitally. And what happens?
I mean, as a kid, you wanted to rip open the packs. How can they do this digitally? Oh, baby. This is exciting. How the graphics come out and everything. And, oh, yeah, the card that you pull, you can actually get that, John, physically. So it's perfect. It's all in one place, and it's a super exciting experience.
Yeah, they send that to you from the vault if you want it. But if you look at it and you're like, it's not the card for me, I want to sell it back, go for it. You can do any of that on Arena Club, and you can acquire the best value for your money with those slab packs, transparent checklists, and Arena Club's Slab Safe program. Right now, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/FAL and use code FAL. arenaclub.com/FAL. Use code FAL.
And we are back, and we are going to talk about actual positive things from the game because we did see the second start of the season for Anthony. Do it.
Sorry, I was looking at Arena Club because that thing actually looks pretty cool. I want to get some cards.
Click that promo code down in the description below. Everybody do that. Help support the brands that support Dodgers Territory and the Foul Territory Network. But yeah, Anthony Gonsolin, Tony Gonsolin, Catman, Tony Smokes made a second start. Both of them, of course, against the Marlins. Both of them good. I don't know if those relate in any way, but what you saw out of him today, mixing pitches, mixing speed wells, the velo was there when he wanted it. And so far, like, it feels very small sample size. It feels a lot like the Gonsolin we saw back in the olden times, back when he was an all-star in 2022 before he hurt that elbow in 23. What'd you like about Tony today, and what can you hang your hat on moving forward, knowing that he's going to be a part of this rotation?
So I like the swing and miss. I like the 17 strikeouts. I like the one. He might have had 2 walks today. I like that. I like the fact that when he gets to 3 and 2, he attacks the zone and he doesn't just give in and walk guys, which like a lot of guys do for this Dodger roster. When they get to three balls, it seems like it's always going to be a walk if the other team's patient. But I love seeing that swing and miss. I love the pitch mix. I love the fact that he's going deeper into games too. He's getting into through those 5 innings. It's something that you're not seeing a lot of, and I think that he's a guy that can go deep. Which is it's kind of the same thing I'm seeing with Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin. They know that they're coming off of these injuries, and other teams are just attacking those first couple pitches on them, and they're getting out. So they're keeping their pitch count low, and they're keeping it low for most of that game. I like that. That will lead to longer outings and much better holding that bullpen back a little bit, which obviously we need.
Yeah, and like we saw in the graphic there, only 82 pitches. He could have given them an extra inning if they really, really needed it. Probably, maybe should have considered it, to be honest, knowing that you had a bullpen game going. But Dave felt something there with Garcia going in that 6th inning, and we don't want to dive back into that too much. It didn't work out. Things happen. There's a reason why Dave had to pull that lever in that moment, because they have a bullpen game and they already pitched all of their leverage arms. But Gonsolin doing good. You gotta love this dude Shohei Ohtani. He's pretty dang good at Lone Depot Field as well, because he hit another homer, became the first big leaguer to eclipse hit the 10 homer, 10 stolen base plateau, which is impressive, and he likes doing big things apparently in Miami, because that's where we saw him go 50-50 last year. But yeah, 10 homers, 7 career games at Lone Depot, 6 homers, and an OPS near, I think it's right at 1,500. He is very, very good at hitting a baseball at Lone Depot, but not enough. It wasn't enough, just him today. Thoughts on Shohei before we I keep moving on.
How much can you really say about Shohei? It's just you just have to be ecstatic that he's a Dodger and just marvel at everything that he does. The fact that he is 10-10 right now, and there was at the beginning of the year, we're talking about, oh my God, he's not getting hits with runners in scoring position, and he never has guys on in base in front of him. Every time someone does come up, now he's getting hits, and I think he's homered in 4 of his last 7 games or something like that. He's starting to hit his stride just like he did last year, and he's actually ahead of where he was last year at this time in terms of home runs and stolen bases. So I don't really need him to do 50-50 or 60-60 again. I don't think you do. I don't think the Dodgers do. But the fact that ability is there is amazing. I just want him to keep his arm off the ground when he's sliding. I saw him do it last night.
Doing it again, yeah.
Keep your arm up. Just stop it. We don't need you hurting that shoulder again and do it. Like you learned how to slide better. Stop that. But I love Shohei, and I don't think he can do anything wrong at this point, even though he does strike out a little bit. But let me ask you this: like you're talking about Dalton rushing, do you feel like this team, because they have so many good players in their AAA minor leagues, like an Alex Freeland, and then you're talking about Dalton rushing, because he's embedded in that DH spot, are we at a little bit of a disadvantage? Not to say that Shohei is a disadvantage, to be clear.
I don't know, man. Like you can't ever say that Shohei provides or creates any sort of disadvantage for the Dodgers lineup. But I would say the bigger disadvantage is the organization kind of mindset of being so bought in on veterans, because we're seeing, and again, granted it's early, you don't pull the plug early on dudes, especially if they're making like 17 million, but we've seen the Muncy struggle this year. You've seen Conforto struggle. You need probably one more bat in the lineup to be a little bit more consistent. And then you have these kids at AAA that, they're taught over and over again. We've talked about this on YouTube a number of times. They're taught, hey, it's a meritocracy. You can earn your way to the big leagues by playing good, and Freeland is having a great year.
Yes.
Rushing now has definitely started to turn it on over the last couple of weeks. The power's coming back. He was hitting over 300, and then he went to left field and forgot how to hit for a game or two. But that's, I think, the toughest part, and that's not so much of a Shohei thing. It's just there's not a lot of opportunity with this version of the team and all the expectations. And, beyond the starters, you can mix in Rojas in there. Of course, Miggy Rowe is Miggy Rowe, but there's an Austin Barnes factor in there. Who else is? Well, James Outman being one guy that maybe you'd like to see some of the kids get opportunities over him. Took a while to see, Hesong Kim get his opportunity, but that's where I think it's less about Ohtani and more about the organization really loving their veterans.
Yeah, they do love their veterans, and it makes sense. That's why they're going to give guys like Chris Taylor and Max Muncy extra time because of what they've done for the team in the past. And we're not going to see Alex Freeland, who's destroying baseballs, who's not going to see Dalton rushing. Although I would love to see Alex Freeland give Max Muncy a little bit of time off, let him adjust to the glasses, maybe find some kind of IL stint for him, or same with Conforto, both of them, and bring them both up. Like, just put Conforto and Muncy on the IL, bring up Freeland and rushing, and just kind of see what we can get. Look, this is a soft spot in the schedule. Like this, if you're going to do it, if you're going to do it, right now is that time. You're playing the Marlins, then you're playing Diamondbacks, which will be a little bit tough, like you said. But then you have the A's, and then you have the Angels. Those are all soft spots. Bring them up. Let's see what you got.
I would like to see some opportunities for these kids. So hopefully sooner rather than later. And I think if anybody is coming up sooner rather than later, it could be a Rushing, but we're probably stuck with what we have for a little bit longer. And hey guys, we're talking about one loss in Miami. It's not the end of the world. And amongst the positives, I want to continue a little bit of a glaze fest for Andy Pages. Had himself a nice game, double in his first at bat. He had the home run robbery with the 98.5 mile per hour hose to throw a runner out at first base. He continues to be good. Like that top of the lineup, very, very good. And when you get Mookie going all the way going again, you're going to be in an even better spot. But you get Shohei, you get Freddie in there. And I said this during the game, if I can find my button, Freddie is more reliable than anybody, like he's somebody I trust with my family. He's somebody I trust with my dog. 1,000% believe in Freddie. But you get all those guys going. They're going to need to really keep it going with Teoscar out, because that's the biggest missing piece, and he's going to be a big missing piece for this lineup. And of course, we also learned today Tommy Edman going to be on the IL for a little bit longer than we expected. There was hoping that we get him back for the Arizona series. Now, most likely back after the team is back home next Tuesday to welcome the Athletics. Weather the storm. I think that's what it is right now. Just weather the storm.
That's exactly what it is. And it's, we're going to be ecstatic when Edman comes back. We're going to be happy when Teo comes back. But I loved what I saw from Pages. Like, he did get to have a big double in the first inning. He did steal another home run, which he tends to do a lot. And it's kind of what's crazy is that there was two weird double plays that you just don't see very often. Right field to first base, third base to home to first base. The double plays that just – two of them in this game, and you still lose the game. Is kind of crazy. But yeah, just weather the storm against these teams that are kind of bottom feeders. Like, you should win most, if not all, of these games. This one was disappointing, but it happens every once in a while. You're going to lose a game here and there.
Again, when you have Luis Garcia, and it's my fault. I'm gonna put some onus of this on me. I started to loosen up. Even when he was doing fine, I kept making him, keeping him as a villain, I should say, for me, or a narrative guy. I was like, why did this guy has no place being in the Dodger bullpen? And the more I kept talking shit, the better he kept doing. So I was like, I should have kept going, but I was like, you know what? He hasn't done that bad, and look ain't I a fool now? But the Dodgers tried.
Works,
yeah, it really
reverse
does.
Work all the time.
You know this. You know this very well from doing so much content everywhere for so very long. Not to call you old or anything, but
it's been a long time. It's been like, what was it, 2017, 2016? Yeah.
Back in the old Postgame days, yeah, that was 18. That was a good run, man. Up to and including us not wanting to be stuck with an 18-inning game again like we were during the World Series.
Mohawk Bend, baby. Let's go, Mohawk.
ESPN, Dodgers Nation. All of our time and effort into that game, and thankfully Max Muncy gave us something nice. Throwback Thursday here on a Tuesday with my boy Greg Bergman. Of course, you guys know him. He does everything over at ESPN LA. I'm on his show every Monday morning on the ESPN LA YouTube channel, along with him, Marcus Grant. Sometimes our boy Parker Bell is there. Always a good time talking with you guys. Dodgers go for the series win tomorrow. Landon Knack gets the ball coming back from AAA. Quickly, what do you need to see from Landon now making his third start I think it's going to be the third start. I mean, it's uncertain if he's starting or there's going to be an opener. But what do you need to see out of this kid as he tries to, settle back in and hopefully potentially take a spot in that rotation until Kershaw's back?
I need to see length. I need to see no
Girth?
walks. I
I'm
would
sorry.
want no girth, just
I'm
length.
sorry.
Just length. This is all about the length here, Clint. But either way, I need to see length. I need him to go long. I need him to go long and hard, and I need him to very much just.
Mark, I'm so sorry.
You let me into it. What am I supposed to do? You let
I
me right into
know.
it.
We got to have some levity in these dark times where the Dodgers lose a game against the Marlins, man. This is just how it goes.
I need him to just not walk guys. Keep the strikeouts, attack the plate. Do not get behind in counts, and just not walk guys. It's like if you can go 4 innings, you can go 4 or 5 innings, not walk anybody. Keep the runs down to 1, 2, 3. I think that's about what you need. You should be able to win this game.
Yeah, command the fastball, command the changeup. Everything else will fall in place from there. Hopefully the Dodgers going out for an angry win in Miami tomorrow afternoon. Again, that is Greg Bergman. Find him everywhere on the ESPN LA radio station, on the YouTube channel. He loves talking about your Dodgers, and he loves a good loss, talking about that as well. You guys going to be live tomorrow. Jeff, that's Jeff's day, right? No, Thursday's Spiegel's day.
Friday is Spiegel's day, but he won't be on. So Monday is Clint Pasillas, Jeff Spiegel on Friday, and then every other day is just me and Marcus and
All right,
Parker Bell.
there's the gang. Alana will be back here. The Blue Review. Check it out again every Monday, or sorry, every morning, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. Alana will be back with me on Thursday. I know everybody's missed Alana. Everybody's been worried that Alana left me for Nesson, but that's not how it goes. Guys, make sure you follow @CorporateGreg on the Twitter machine for random takes about all of your sports, even the Raiders sometimes, which is
yes, Raiders.
All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one of these. Thanks for hanging out with me, Greg. We'll see you. Bye.
Thanks.
Oh, that's the wrong button.